We start with a mysterious scene. A black-gloved hand injects something strange into an egg yolk. Moments later, the egg divides, making an identical copy. Meanwhile, in Hollywood, a star for Oscar-winning actress Elizabeth Sparkle is unveiled on the Walk of Fame. But over time, the star loses its shine. Just like Elizabeth's career. Once the toast of Hollywood, she's now hosting an aerobics TV show. Despite her age, she's still fit and full of energy. One day, she goes to the restroom at work, but the women's is out of order, so she uses the men's. Inside, she overhears her producer Harvey saying she's too old and that the show needs a fresh, younger face. Harvey believes it's time for Elizabeth to step aside, mentioning that she won her Oscar ages ago. Heartbroken, Elizabeth meets Harvey for lunch, and he casually announces her retirement. To make things worse, he leaves with a friend right after. Feeling helpless, Elizabeth spots a fly in her wine glass, making her feel even more like a washed-up has-been. On her drive home, she gets distracted by workers taking down her billboard, leading to a car accident. In the hospital, a doctor recognizes her and gives a warm compliment, but Elizabeth is overwhelmed with sadness, feeling her fame has completely faded. As the doctor leaves, a young nurse checks her over, muttering about her being perfect for an experiment. Oddly enough, he slips a flash drive into her pocket, advertising something called substance. Later, an old classmate named Fred approaches Elizabeth and offers to catch up. He writes his number on a soggy piece of paper and hands it to her. She smiles, but inside she's sinking into depression. Returning home, she finds a farewell bouquet, thanking her for her contributions. The card stings, especially the word "was." Curious, she plugs the flash drive into her TV. It plays an ad for Substance, a product promising to unlock her DNA and produce a younger, more beautiful version of herself. The commercial explains that this new version will coexist with her, switching every 7 days, making them 2 parts of a perfect whole. Later, at a bar, Elizabeth watches happy couples, realizing how alone she feels. Back at home, she decides to order the mysterious substance. She receives a postbox number for pickup, and the call ends abruptly. After a restless night, she wakes up to see a newspaper ad seeking someone to replace her as the show's host. In the same mail pile, she finds a card confirming the postbox number for her order. Elizabeth makes her way to pick up a mysterious package. Using a special card, she unlocks a hidden door in an old building and finds the storage unit waiting for her. When she gets home, Elizabeth opens the box to find everything she needs inside. Each bag is carefully labeled: activator, stabilizer, the other you, the switch, food for the matrix, and food for the other you. There's a strict plan. The activator is a one-time shot, but the stabilizer has to be taken daily, drawn from something called the matrix cells. And here's the big rule: Elizabeth and her other half must switch places every 7 days, without fail, to stay whole. The next morning, Elizabeth stares at herself in the mirror, seeing signs of aging she can't ignore. Finally, she injects the one-time activator, and pain overwhelms her. She collapses to the floor, writhing as her back splits open, revealing a younger, radiant version of herself. This new Elizabeth, let's call her Sue, slowly gathers herself, looking into the mirror to see a beautiful, youthful face staring back. She's stunned by her new look but notices Elizabeth's body on the floor. She cleans up the scene, stitching up Elizabeth's back, and tucks her away in bed. The following morning, Sue feels a sudden wave of sickness. She quickly pulls out syringes filled with the stabilizer and injects it, drawn from the unconscious matrix body of Elizabeth. Then, she heads out, relishing the strength and beauty of her young body. On the way to a casting call, she buys a swimsuit that turns heads. At the audition, she takes the name Sue and immediately captivates the assistant and the producer, Harvey, with her charm. Sue gets the gig as the show's new host, but adds that she'll need a break every 7 days to take care of her sick mother, which completely wins Harvey over. Sue revels in the fame, reliving Elizabeth's dream life. But soon, a week goes by, and it's time to switch back. Sue attaches tubes to her arms, letting the substance flow through her. And just like that, Elizabeth awakens while Sue's body slips into a coma. Elizabeth takes her place back in the world, receiving a thoughtful gift from the crew at the studio. Once home, she marks the calendar with the days she's herself. But unlike Sue, she spends her days alone, locked away. The weekly switches continue until Elizabeth gets a message about a new batch of substance waiting for her at the postbox. 7 days pass, and they switch again. Sue's life is taking off as she stars in commercials and basks in her rising popularity. But one day, she starts thinking about the Matrix body and decides to create a secret hiding spot in the bathroom. She finishes just in time for her neighbor to knock, complaining about the noise. When he sees her, he's instantly smitten, offering to help. But Sue shuts the door in his face. She hides Elizabeth's body in the secret room and replaces a portrait of Elizabeth with one of herself. With that, the thrilling and eerie story unfolds, blending ambition, vanity, and the blurred lines of identity. Sue may have won her fame, but Elizabeth's shadow looms, forcing them to live in a twisted cycle. 2 lives sharing one existence. With everything hanging on the 7-day switch, Sue's show becomes a huge hit, and the ratings skyrocket, making her producer super happy. She's loving her new life, making friends, going to parties. One night she brings a young guy back to her place. Things start heating up, but suddenly she doesn't feel well. Sue remembers it's time to switch, so she rushes to her secret room to perform an extra stabilization procedure. After spending the night with him, she's late on the switch. When Elizabeth finally wakes up, she's in a mess. The living room is chaotic, and her hands are stiff and painful. She tries calling her substance provider, but they give her bad news. Her body's changes are irreversible. They remind her that Sue and she are still one whole. Elizabeth tidies up and catches Sue's show on TV, where she admits, even if it hurts, that Sue is beautiful. Then a neighbor drops by, asking Sue on a date. Elizabeth ignores the knock. Later, Elizabeth gets a fresh batch of the substance. At a cafe, an old man strikes up a conversation, talking about how hard it is to wait to return to his body. When he accidentally drops his cards, she spots a card that matches her own substance card. She realizes that this is the same nurse who had guided her into the experiment. He warns her, with each switch she'll struggle more to remember that she deserves to exist. Soon, Sue's personality will literally start consuming her. Panicked, Elizabeth runs home, bumping into Sue's boyfriend, who doesn't recognize her. This triggers a memory, and she reaches out to Fred, an old friend who eagerly invites her to meet up. Elizabeth puts on makeup, trying to feel her best, but on the way, she sees a billboard with Sue on it. Feeling defeated, she wipes off her makeup, rips off her dress, stays home, and binge eats to deal with her stress. When it's Sue's turn again, she returns to set. But during filming, she feels something weird under her skin and rushes to the bathroom. There, she discovers a chicken leg stuck in her navel. She realizes Elizabeth's binge eating is affecting her. Furious, Sue calls the substance provider, but again, they just remind her they're one whole. Time passes, and Sue calls her producer, Harvey, with big news. She's going to host the network's New Year's Eve show. It's a huge career move, but she's now overusing the stabilizer, causing Elizabeth's body to age rapidly. When Elizabeth wakes up again, she's almost unrecognizable. Her joints are stiff, her hair's gray, and her face looks decades older. Desperate, she calls the provider, who suggests ending the experiment, but there's no way to reverse the damage. Torn, Elizabeth realizes she can't let go of this version of herself, even if it's ruining her. Despite her age and aching knees, Elizabeth finds new purpose. She discovers Harvey's gift, a cookbook, and throws herself into cooking, while Sue continues to dominate the TV screens. One day, Elizabeth overhears Sue laughing at her, mocking her as a washed-up star. This pushes Elizabeth to eat even more, and her anger grows. She's furious and decides to end the experiment altogether. The day of the big switch arrives, and once again, Sue walks into a messy room full of leftovers and empty bottles. She's determined to gain her freedom, so she stockpiles enough stabilizers for 3 months to avoid relying on the Matrix. But just a day before the show goes live, her stabilizer supply runs out. Desperate, she calls for more, but the supplier tells her only Elizabeth can provide it, and they need to switch again. There's no other way. Barely able to stay awake, Sue starts the switch. Her boyfriend hears strange noises from the bathroom, but she won't open the door. Inside, she's transforming into a bald, deformed woman. She screams at him, scaring him away. Elizabeth, now in this monstrous form, contacts the substance operator and begs to end the experiment. She heads out to get a final batch of the serum. When she returns, she drags Sue into the living room and prepares a syringe to kill her younger self. But as she stares at portraits of Sue, she realizes she can't go through with it. Instead, she wakes Sue up. Sue, seeing the syringe, realizes what Elizabeth planned to do. Enraged, she attacks her Matrix, beating her to death. Afterward, she goes to the New Year's show, dressed in a stunning gown. But mid-show, Sue feels sick and runs to the bathroom. With her Matrix dead, her body starts falling apart. Her teeth fall out, making it impossible for her to smile, which the sponsors need. Her nails and even her ear fall off. Panicking, she rushes home and injects herself with the last of the activator, trying to create a new version of herself. But instead, a horrifying fusion of both versions, Eliza Sue, is born. The creature, recalling her old fame, tries to pretty herself up, putting on a dress and a homemade Elizabeth mask before heading to the show. When she arrives at the studio, she steps on stage, but her mask slips, revealing her monstrous face. The crowd screams in terror and runs away. Someone from the audience strikes her, decapitating Eliza Sue. Her mutilated body releases a flood of blood into the hall. The remains of Eliza Sue stumble outside, where they eventually disintegrate on the street. Elizabeth's original face manages to crawl to her star on the Walk of Fame, looks up, smiles, and melts away. By the next morning, the last traces of her are cleaned off, leaving no memory of the actress. Both chilling and darkly funny, the film dives into society's pressure on women's bodies to stay forever young, challenging viewers to think about the importance of self-acceptance and the dangers of losing yourself in the chase for eternal beauty.